Everyone, good morning. Welcome to Durgasoft Free Splunk workshop.
Very
So,
good morning, sir.
yeah, how
Morning,
many
sir.
of you know?
Sir, can you
There are
can you?
around like, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
How many of you people know Splunk?
No, actually, we don't have any idea about this Splunk,
Okay,
sir. So actually, I am right now. I am working as a support engineer in SCL.
yeah,
So coming, they are using the Splunk. They are saying that like monitoring, we need to use these logs monitoring.
correct.
Yeah.
Yes,
So we
okay,
plan to learn these things, sir.
yeah. So, like, irrespective of the load, whether or irrespective of the role, whatever you are doing, like whether you can be a support guy or you can be a admin or you can be a developer or you can be a tester or you can be a like business analyst or you may be the customer, right? So, what is the current problem that we are facing? Okay, so we are having like an organization. Let us assume like an organization, no, it can be like Amazon or a solution. We'll take something like we'll take two companies like a Flipkart, okay, or a organization like anything like CTS, HCL or whatever, right? Each organization will have multiple, it will have thousands of servers, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, each organization will have thousands of servers and each servers generate some data. Okay, okay, so what that data can be, the data can be logs or it can be something else. Something else means it can be like a CPU metrics or it can be temperature, anything, okay, or it can be the status, health check status, okay. So each organization is having like as an admin or a support guy, right? You have to, your challenge is something like this. So each server generates some data. It can be logs or it can be like CPU memory or whatever. And but like this, you are having thousands of servers in an organization. In our traditional model, right, where you used to have the application server, web server, and DB server in only standalone, like monolithic, you will call, right?
Right.
In earlier days, right, we used to have infrastructure something like this. In one server, we used to have web server or used to have some DB server as well as the application server. But the trend has changed now. How the stuff is, right? We are moving to a cluster based model where you will be having like for app server itself, you will be having something like a cluster. Okay, everything will be under load balancer. A load balancer, whenever you triggers a call to a application server, right, directly you will hit the load balancer. Underneath it, right, you will be having multiple servers. Okay, like that, if it wants to call to another system also, everything will go via load balancer. And in the downstream, right, in the downstream systems, they are also like they form a cluster. To say in simple, no, let us assume like uh, you are working in a bank. Okay, ICICI Bank is there. Whenever you do a payment, no, that will go to your ICICI Bank servers, correct? After that, right, whenever you want to make any payment, right, it will go to some merchant, right, like Visa or something, no. So it will call their own cluster, and there also there will be like number of servers. Okay, so like the in order to make the like in order to analyze the systems, right, it's very complicated when you have this cluster and you have these many servers, right? So our goal is to monitor like large amounts of data. Okay, our goal is to monitor the large amounts of the data that is being generated by these thousands of servers. So that's why Splunk came into picture. So our goal is to monitor these many servers. Okay, that's why Splunk came into picture. So what is Splunk basically? Splunk is a software that is used to collect, search, analyze, and visualize. So here I'm having some thousands of servers. Okay, here I'm having some operating systems like Windows, Linux, okay, and Solaris. Like that, I'm having huge number of machines. Okay, that generates the data. What Splunk will do, right? If you consider this as a Splunk, what Splunk will do, right? There will be one agent basically. If you want to send the logs from one system to another system, right? There will be something like an agent that needs to be installed. So there is an agent called as like universal forwarder. Okay, it is a lightweight program or a jar or a software that is installed in your universal in your source machines. So this universal forwarder will send the logs, whatever you configure, to your Splunk indexer. Okay, there is one component called as indexer. So it will collect. First thing is like collect. Okay, by installing the universal forwarder in your source machines, the Splunk admin will do that job. Okay, he will configure the like universal forwarders in your source machines, and they will send the logs to your Splunk indexers. So the data will be stored in something like an index. Okay, there won't be any database for Splunk. Actually, it is their directory. Okay, so let us assume like index is equal to ABC means all the data whatever you send, right, that will be stored in the ABC index. Okay, now this Splunk admin job is done. Now my data is present here. What there will be one more role called as like a Splunk developer. What this Splunk developer will do, right? Based on the data that is accumulated from the source systems. Okay, this is basically unstructured data. If you take machine learning and Hadoop, right? You know, right? Hadoop or like what they will do, they will try to extract the information from the unstructured data. Even Splunk also being used by machine learning and uh, other. Okay, so whatever the unstructured data that comes, like if you see the CPU, memory, temperature, and the logs also will provide some data, right? This is all basically unstructured. Using that unstructured data, the Splunk developer will search the required information which is collected. Okay, they will search, analyze, and visualize. They will visualize. Okay, means the data will be coming from the source systems and it gets accumulated in your Splunk indexer and the Splunk developer. There will be two roles basically, Splunk admin and Splunk developer. Splunk admin job is to configure or to send the logs or the data from the source systems to the Splunk. The developer role is whatever the data that gets stored in the indexer, he will write the queries using SPL and he will prepare the dashboards and all those. Just give me a minute. I will show Splunk UI how it looks. Actually, we can have the Splunk environment in your locally or in the cloud. Okay, so actually Splunk requires lot of components. I will just show one diagram. So the Splunk architecture, right, will be something like this. If you just leave about the ports and all those, right? So there will be, if you come here, right, these are the universal forwarders, which I told here, universal forwarders. So this universal forwarders, what they will do, right? They will send the logs from your source systems like Linux or like Windows to the indexer. Basically, all the logs will be collected in the indexer. Okay, and there will be one component called as search head basically. So this search head will get the data from the indexer to put here. There is something like a universal forwarder. Okay, this is my universal forwarder where which okay, and I have installed it on some Linux OS. Okay, now as I mentioned here, there is one component called as like indexers. Indexer is a component where all the data gets stored. Okay, so let us assume like there are some 1,000 servers or 200 or 300 or 1,000 servers are sending the logs every second to the indexer. If I do a search operation on the same instance, it will deteriorate the performance, correct? So there will be one component called as like search head. So there is a component called as search head. Search head job is something like the user will be there or a developer or someone. He will be executing the query. He will be logging to the search head and he will execute the query. And that query will be executed on the indexer where your data is stored in an index and he will be presented with the query. Okay, that is what this is. So here you are having multiple indexers. Basically, right, in a Splunk environment, right, you can't have only one indexer and one searcher. If you are having some 10,000 or 20,000 servers in an organization, Splunk also needs to form as a cluster. Like that, you will have multiple indexers. Okay, and here also you will have multiple search heads. Obviously, there will be like multiple universal forwards, which is in thousands, to send the logs or the data to the indexer. Okay, and there will be something like um, a license server. Okay, license manager will be there, license server will be there. It will check like whenever you are sending the logs, right, in Splunk, how it would be, no, it is something like how much data you want to send, whether it can be 1 GB per day or 2 GB per day or 3 GB per day. Let us assume like I am running one project, and in the project, right, it is generating some 5 GB logs per day. Okay, this project is sending 5 GB logs per day, but someone in the some component in the Splunk should measure whether they are sending like really 5 GB because they have purchased a 5 GB license. Okay, here they have purchased a 5 GB license and they have to check whether are they really sending 5 GB or 10 GB, something like that. No, there will be one component called as like license master or license manager who will be like calculating the amount of the data that is reaching the indexer. Okay, just a second, I will open this Splunk UI. I had one cloud instance, it went away. Just a second. I'm having already one Splunk instance. I will destroy it and I will create a new. So if you see the competitors of the Splunk, right, there are multiple competitors like LogDNA, Elasticsearch, Sumo Logics, and SolarWinds Logly. Okay, but like out of all these things, right, Splunk is more popular. If you see Elk, right, Elasticsearch, it is free, but it has its own problem. So like most of the production systems, like they will prefer like the Splunk only. Okay, and Splunk is having one beautiful feature. If you see something like Splunk base, there will be something like Splunk base. Here, right, you will get the apps to which the Splunk can be integrated. So there are like multiple categories like DevOps, IT, like security, fraud, compliance, business analytics, IoT, and utilities. So these are basically the categories that Splunk supports. Like it is mostly, if you see the number of apps, right, it is mostly being used by IT operations. Okay, and you are having so many apps for security. Why we will use this for security? If you see traditionally, right, you are having now an organization is having some 10,000 servers, let us assume. Okay, and a hacker will try to attack only one system and enter into the organization infrastructure, correct? Out of 10,000 systems, a hacker will try to log in into one system. Okay, and what we can do, right, we can prepare an alerts, and we can prepare the alerts. Like normally in a normal day, out of 24 hours, the number of failure logins on your infrastructure will be like 50 or 100, let us assume. Okay, 100 per day. But whenever a hacker is trying to take control of the system, he will be using like multiple logins, right? He will trying like multiple he will be trying multiple attempts. So it suddenly, right, we have seen a spike in the, like within 100, like within 5 minutes, right, you are seeing some 30 or 20 invalid logins. Okay, and when you have some infrastructure or an app or a dashboard, okay, and an alert which is configured, then it will notify the like admins or an IT support, whoever is working on it, and they can isolate the system from the network. So the Splunk is being used. Actually there is something like Splunk enterprise security, which will be like it is a separate course itself. Okay, so and there will be some premium apps. Okay, so there will be some premium apps. App is something like, I will show the what is app actually. So let us assume, like if I go to IT operations, so if you want to monitor the Splunk, so you're having multiple options. Yeah, if you take DevOps, no, it will be integrated with the Jenkins. Okay, it can be integrated with the Docker and all those. It can get the data from the Docker. Sorry. If you take IT infrastructure, no, there will be some monitoring tools like New Relic. So the Splunk can be integrated to this as well. So that's why it is more popular. So whatever the monitoring tools are like Dynatrace or right, App Dynamics is there, right? Those data also can be integrated with the Splunk. There will be some apps for infrastructure monitoring, like OS monitoring, and like Windows monitoring and Linux monitoring. So like we have multiple integrations. Okay, but these integrations are limited with the other components. Okay, I think my Splunk is. Okay. So if you want to go to Splunk, right, there will be so Splunk has two softwares. Okay, one is uh, Splunk Enterprise Edition. Okay, irrespective of the component. Here I am showing multiple components like search head I'm showing, indexer I'm showing, forwarder, right, I'm showing like heavy forward. In forwarder also there will be two types of forwarders. This one we'll discuss later. Okay, there will be something like deployment server and license server, right? So for all these components, right, there will be only one software, that is the Splunk Enterprise Edition. Okay, this what we have to do, right, we have to download this and we have to configure, we have to do some configurations to make it as search head, or you want to make it as a indexer, right? You have to do some configurations, but the software would be same. There will be two types of softwares. One is Enterprise Edition, which will be having somewhere around like 400 MB, and there will be something like Universal Forwarder. Universal Forwarder is a lightweight program. Okay, but what it will do, right, it will send the logs from your source systems. Here as I mentioned, here you will have, there will be only two softwares. One is like Universal Forwarder and one is the Splunk software. Even though it is an indexer, it is the same software. Even though it is a search head, it is the same software. We have to install this. The installation procedure will be same, core installation procedure. After that we have to do some configurations to make it as an indexer, or you want to make it as a search head, something like that. Okay, so I will first, you have to log in, you have to create one account with Splunk. Okay, you have to provide all the credentials like first name, last name, and all those, and you have to create the login account. Just give me a second, I will log in. So if you see, right, this is a server side installation. Front Enterprise is server side installation. Basically, right, you will get 500 MB per day. Means you can ingest 500 MB data per day. So it supports server side. It supports three operating system. One is like Windows, Linux, and Mac. So if you are installing this Splunk, right, 99%, right, you will have only Linux. Okay, there won't be like Mac and Windows. That is rare. So everyone will maintain their Splunk infrastructure 99% where I have worked, right? It is only Linux only. Okay. So if you see the software, it supports basically three types of installations. One is RPM, means Red Hat CentOS, right? These will support RPM, and there will be some Debian systems. Okay. Those support Debian packages, and there is something like a TZZ, tar based installation. So this installation procedure will be same for everything. If you install Linux of any flavor like Debian or Ubuntu or Red Hat CentOS, okay, this will support. Okay, and when you go to the client side, this is the agent side, right? If you want to send the logs, you can send it from Windows, you can send it from Linux. Okay, you can send it from Linux. In Linux also it will support multiple architectures, basically like ARM based 64-bit, and both will support like the logs can be sent from sparse hardware like Solaris, like Arkill hardware, or normal ISO based installations. Okay, this is like not the, this is the hardware. Basically Spark machines are something like the like software and the hardware developed by Oracle only. Okay, this is something like only the software, the machines which has only Solaris software. Okay, and You can send the data from Mac. There is something like a FreeBSD and IBM AIX. So these are the client side supported operating systems. So the package also will be very lightweight. It is like 60 MB. So and it is proven like there is no much impact to the, like if you install this package, the client side package in your operating systems, right? So it is proved that there won't be much impact. Okay. And out of 100, Fortune 100 companies, right, 90 people are using Splunk. And if you go to like out of 10,000, it is expected like 85,000 companies will use Splunk. Any doubts till now? You can ask questions. After that, I'll start installation. You understood like what is Splunk basically?
Yeah, yes, sir. Got it.
So the use cases can be like multiple. Like if you're because the Splunk is being used by anyone, irrespective of role. I told you know, whether you are a developer, they will search logs. Tester will search logs. Let us assume like your solution is having something like I told you know, in some complex architecture where
Yes.
you are logging in. Okay, you are working on ICICI Bank. Okay, so whenever you log in right to ICICI Bank, you can go to credit cards, you can go to loans, and you can go to your savings. Correct. So because the transaction is being internally splitted into different servers, because credit card itself is a separate entity, it is separate department. Loans is a separate department. The servers are like different, but you are they're providing some feature, they're facilitating you to access the information from one UI, one console. Okay, but if you find any issue or if some payment is not done or if a land like loan is not debited, okay, there will be like multiple challenges to track the information. No, during that time like Splunk will be very fetching. So they will be having some unique ID like transaction ID for every transaction, like session ID. If you give the session ID, right, you will get the complete list. Okay, so any other doubts? Okay, so now what I will do, right, I will install one Splunk Enterprise Edition. I will take one Linux based installation. So it is very simple. You have to click on this once you log in, once you create your account, right, you have to click on the download now. Okay, so basically, right, normally what will happen, the Splunk will download in your local system, but here, right, there will be something like a wget command. Okay, you have to take this wget command and execute in /opt folder. Okay, opt folder, right, this is the folder where you will install the Splunk. Okay, you have to copy paste the command here, that's it, and click on enter. So directly the Splunk will be installed on the system. Okay, no need to do like no need to copy to your local and then going to your using WinSCP or something, right? No need to copy there. Directly what you can do, right, you can straight away copy it. Okay, just a second, looks like some issue, internet is very slow. I'll go do we retry. Normally it will be fast. Yeah, previously it was the download rate was only 500 MB. Do you have any other questions? It will take 2 or 3 minutes to download the package. You can ask any question regarding this plan.
By using the Splunk, we can monitor the AWS setup also,
Yes.
viewing the logs
Yes, you can
uh,
monitor.
instances. So if
Yes.
sometimes my CPU utilization is 100% uses, at the time also we can set up the alerts.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So that's basically like Splunk can monitor anything. So I will show in diagram.
But we need to like set up those things, right, sir? In the
Correct.
okay. So can you teach us those things also, sir? In the
No,
like
one or two apps we will teach because there are some 10,000 apps. Okay.
okay,
As
sir.
I told here, right? There will be something like 10,000 apps.
Okay, sir.
So I will be taking one or two. Okay.
Okay,
So I can't
okay.
teach if like you understand, you know, this is
Yeah,
because
got
this is
got a very
so I can show like
basic.
basic how to monitor a Windows machine, Linux machine. So to a third party system, one or two I can tell because this is a complete different what to say. These integrations, right? They have to work on their project based needs.
Yes, sir.
Without this also like a Splunk, right? It will take a lot of time because the Splunk if you want to have a proper Splunk setup, you will need if you want to set up this infrastructure in your lab also, you need 7 to 8 machines.
Correct.
So if you are having like I told there is something like indexer 1, indexer 2, indexer 3, indexer 4. My Splunk universal forwarder will send the data, okay,
Yes,
to any one of that, okay, or it will send it to all. But the data should be replicated between these all. If I send data here for 1 minute and if I send data for here from this source for 1 minute, let us assume it will have some partial data, it will have some partial data, right? So there
Yes, sir.
will be something like clustering and indexing. So where you will have multiple, like how much data, let us assume like in my cluster, one node goes down
So at the time,
or two nodes goes down. So
okay,
how I have to design my infrastructure
okay, sir.
without data loss.
Yes, sir.
So those things will be
Load back.
covered. Yeah,
Yes,
if I in search head also, I will have 5 or 6. I
yes,
will create some configuration in search head 1. It should be replicated in search head 2. If I create a dashboard here, no, I should,
yes,
if
sir.
I, here I'm protect, basically, right, I will be having a load balancer. As a user, whenever I log in, no, I will be hitting the load balancer URL. The load balancer will forward the traffic to any one of the search head. Either it can be 1, 2, or 3 based on the organization needs. So if I log in for the first time here, I will be creating one configuration, like one dashboard I'm creating. Next time when I log out and log in, I may go to this this search head. Correct?
Yes, sir.
During that time, I should see the same configuration here, whatever the dashboards I created. So this data should be replicated. So that's what I'm saying. It will have some 10. If you want to have a proper setup, no, you can do it in either in cloud or if you are having a like a good configuration machine, right? Some like 16 GB or 20 GB RAM machine. Then you can do in your virtual box or in your local setup. Okay. Else, right? You have to go with cloud because this infrastructure itself is 8 to 9 machines. Basically, this is the job of the Splunk admin.
Yes, sir.
Splunk admin's job is to like configure this setup.
Yes.
The developer job is to once the data gets fetched, no, he will be
Mm-hmm.
using the data. Okay, 1 second, there is some issue. It is very slow. Okay, or I will turn now. 1 second.
Sir, what is the difference between the IBM QRadar and the Splunk?
I did. Yeah, tell me. IBM.
Difference between the IBM QRadar and the Splunk?
So, like, if you see, right, the Splunk is both. Actually, I don't know that IBM. So I worked on Elk and the Splunk only. If it is a log monitoring tool, right? There are multiple vendors basically. If you have one, if you need one solution to manage the logs or to manage the infrastructure, you will be having multiple solutions from multiple companies, no? Yes, sir.
Yes.
Like it may
Yes.
be some other that may be the product of IBM. If you see Linux, Linux is having multiple distributions. It is having Red Hat, it is having something like IBM is having, and Oracle is having their own, Amazon is having
Yes.
their own. So like that they will be having like multiple vendors. Basically it is our need to choose the proper one. Whatever
Oh,
is
okay, okay. I understand. Thank you.
today internet is slow. Normally it will like download it around like 5 Mbps or something. Not sure I have unnecessarily deleted the existing package. Meanwhile, you can ask questions, whatever you have, I will answer. Going forward, right? In your as we are going to this like cluster-based solutions in your application, right? It is hard to manage. At least one solution should be there. Something like log monitoring solution should be there in our organization. So if you learn this course, right, it won't be waste. If you there will be some people who will learn Java and .NET, no? They will be either working on Java or .NET. So like one of the stuff will be waste. Here Splunk is not like that. If you learn this course, right, it will be useful. It will be like at one point of time after when you are like 7 or 8 years experienced, right, you will definitely use Splunk. The Splunk is known to people who are only like minimum 8 years experience. 6 to 8 only they will know about Splunk. Others, right, freshers and all those, they won't know. I think in this whatever the attend is, right, most of them are like above 5 years experience, right? There won't be any fresher. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So those people who are about 5 or like 8 years experience, right? They will be only using the Splunk. As per my knowledge, right? That is only the trend what I have seen. Who are coming, right? They're all like minimum 5+ experience. Whenever you move to this some responsibility, right, like monitoring the production and all those, right, they will be using the Splunk. Even for an admin guy, right, if you are having some 1,000 servers, he can't go and check every server, no, for errors by logging into that machine. So if the like logs are coming at one place, right, it will be easy for him. And nowadays, right, we are having some solutions like 30% we are having, like if you are having some solution like internet banking or whatever, okay, or a retail company, shopping company, okay, they're having 30% infrastructure and cloud like Azure, AWS and Google Cloud, and they will be having some portion in the on premises. Like that the design is now. There are like multiple people who are working on a solution or a project which is using both 2 clouds or 3 clouds. Or any other question do you have? And one more beauty of these logs, right? There will be something like log retention in your operating system. Now you can like whenever there is a like huge traffic that is coming from outside, right? They'll store like last 5 logs or last 6 logs. No, normally after that the rollover will happen. In Splunk, no, whenever the logs gets sent to the indexer, right? You can store the logs for last 6 months or last 1 year or last 2 years. Got it? Or last 5 years also. You can preserve the logs. You can search like if you get one error, let us assume that you are getting some error Okay, and the same in production we are getting some error. You can search whether the same error is like something we got this error before 1 year or before 2 years. Got it? Like that you can search. That is also one good thing.
Sir, as a fresher, there is a chance to join as entry level by using
Yeah,
Splunk.
yeah, you can go for the Splunk developer or Splunk admin role. Okay.
Okay, sir.
It is
Thank
something,
you.
even if you are a fresher, if you go as a developer or whatever, two things, right? Explicitly, Splunk provides two opportunities, admin and a developer. Okay. If you want to go take that as a career, you can take. Else, right? If you learn a Splunk, it will add weightage. Why? Because now all the people, right? They will be using the Splunk at one stage. It will be like definitely a value add on to your resume. It won't go as waste because like if you see right, the people attending, right, they're all some 5+, but they came for Splunk because at some point of time they're using. Got it?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. So it is I have downloaded the package. Okay. So it is basically something like 400 MB file. Installation is very simple. tar-zxvf. Okay. And I have to give this one. Okay. X for extract. Z is for this compression type. No. Z. V for verbose and F for force. If you give this right, Splunk installation is done. So if you extract the file, right, basically the Splunk installation is done. Okay. You extract the file. Okay. So pwd. If I give ls, it will extract one folder. Okay. So cd/opt/splunk/bin. Okay. This is the path where all your installation files will be there. The scripts, whatever are necessary, right? Those will be present here. Okay. There will be one process called as Splunk. Okay. We have to start that process. Starting the Splunk is very easy. You have to give start. Okay. If I give Splunk -start, right, it will ask me for the terms and licensing stuff. So if you want to bypass that one, or if you want to like scrolling down and all those, right? So I can give something like --, accept hyphen. If I give this accept license, right, interactively, it will be selecting it will be accepting the license. So by default, you will get 60 days license whenever you install the locally. Okay, whenever you install the Splunk, right, you will be getting 60 days license. After that, right, what you can do, right, you can just delete it and extract the file and start newly. Okay, got it. If 60 days is finished, so what you can do, right, you can stop the Splunk, you delete that Splunk directory, and whatever the tar you downloaded, right, you extract it again and you have to start again. Then you will get another 60 days. Okay, I'm giving some username and password. This username is password for logging into the Splunk web-based login for console login credentials. I'm giving some username as admin. I'm giving some password. Okay. Basically here, no, Splunk will use port 8000. Okay. 8000 is for web UI. So if you have any application which is running on 8000, you won't get the console. Okay. This is the management port. So as I mentioned here, now there are multiple Splunk components. So each will talk with each other with using the management port. Okay, this we will see later. These are mostly important. One is like WebUI port. Second is the management port. So each Splunk component, like if I'm installing search head or indexer or universal forwarder, right, to know the health check and all those, right, they will use this port. Okay. IP address is this one. I'm just erasing IP tables. Okay, I'm clearing the firewalls. So what I will do, right, I will go use this one followed by 8000. Admin, I have given this Splunk. This is Splunk console. So this is the search and the reporting app where you will write the queries. Okay, this is the search and reporting app. Actually, basically, you can generate the reports like on daily basis. You want to know the traffic in terms of like how many users logged in, or you want to have a report with only failures. So those can be done using the report section. There will be something like alert section. In alert section, right, you can create alert. Okay, and there will be something like a dashboard section where you can have a data visualizations. Okay, I will put a small Splunk query. Okay, there will be something like internal index for Splunk. Okay, this is basically the internal indexes, right? Indexes is something like the data that is getting from the source systems will be stored in the index, right? Splunk will have two indexes. One is like user defined, one is like inbuilt. So this is the inbuilt index of Splunk. So I will give, like, now I am having some 28 2000 events. No, I can give some query to get the count. If I give stats count now, I am getting some number. Okay, this is something like extraction. In my told, no, it will collect, and now I am searching by using the query. I am searching the data and analyze and visualize. So there will be something like a visualization tab here, right? I can put like this, so I can get the number, something like this. Got it? I can put it in a visualization mode, and the same thing I can, oh shit, I can save it as a dashboard. So I can create a dashboard saying like total events per day. So I can take it as a report. I can export it as a PDF and all those, and I can send it to mail also. The same thing can be, we can have some alerts. Okay, we can write the queries and you can save as alerts also. Okay, so basically, right, if you go settings and indexes, no, you'll be having, these are all the Splunk inbuilt indexes. If I create a new index, no, if I click on create new index, test one or Amazon, and click on save, no, so this is the user defined index, whatever I'm creating. This is Amazon is there, right? This is the user defined index. So for a project now, I will take this, I will pump the data into here. Okay, if I want to pump the data now, what I can do, right? Manually, I am having one log file which is provided by the Splunk. I can click on add data, skip, upload. I can select the file. Here I will have to select to which index I have to send. Just now I have created one index called as Amazon. No, I can send the data to that index. If I give now, right, if I give index is equal to Amazon, I will get this data. You got it? These are the logs pertaining to that Amazon. Now there will be like multiple fields. If like these are the fields that is Splunk that is generated by the Splunk. Okay, this logs has something like, if you see, right, action, you will have something like action here. See, action, add to cart, action, purchase. If I click here, right, these are the values of that particular fields. So, and there will be some field called as stats or status. So these are the statuses. So I can write some queries, something like this. So if I put it as a visualization like this, no, here it will show me. So in my whatever the time which I have selected, last 24 hours or last 15 hours, right, it will show me how many 200s are there, 400s are there, 404, 406. Basically it will show all the error codes whatever you have selected, whether if you select for 15 minutes or half an hour or 1 hour, right, it will show. So if you want to calculate this manually, how much time it will take? Yes or no? If you want to know, okay, I want to work on these errors, I can directly click on here. Then it will show me all the errors pertaining to the 505 error only. For troubleshooting also it is very easy, no? It is there when I click the error, right? If I want to analyze this 404, I want to see like how many systems are involved in contributing for this 404. If I directly click on this, right, it will automatically populate with the events that are of 404. So here everything is having 404. See, all are like 404 HTTP errors. So I can trace down whether they are from the same source machine or are they from the different log or one log. Here I'm having only one log. In your office you will be having multiple logs, no? So which logs we are getting this 404, which application is having issue? Okay, like that you can fetch and you can visualize. That's what I told. Okay, if you have any questions I will answer. Basically what we can do, right, we can do the reporting and alerts and dashboards can be done. Any questions? Actually this took lot of time for downloading normally. So like invalid, if you have invalid or something, right, if you want errors, right, directly you can see the errors. All the errors can be like, if you are having 1000 systems also, all the logs will all the systems which are contributing to this error will be listed here. In source section, host section, we can list those servers for troubleshooting. So actually the course is split into two parts. One is administration and development. So tomorrow there will be like first class. Actually first one class got over. that I will take a backup. If someone wants to enroll, right, they can enroll. They can join tomorrow like 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. If you have any doubts, I will answer. Let me know.
So why is Splunk preferred over other login tools like ELK?
Yeah, because it is easy to maintain. One thing is that it is easy to maintain and it is being trusted by some years. Okay, and if you see, right, even though we are having ELK, which is open source, right, most of the people like it is a financial, right, and like where the complexity is involved, right, they will pay and they will go for Splunk because it is easy to maintain and the data loss is very less. Because it's the data, it deals with the data, right, and there will be something like compression. If you send like 100 GB logs per day in your hard disk, right, it will compress and it will store as 30 GB by its own algorithm. That's why it is more famous. If you take ELK or other tools, no, if your source system is having sending some 1000 GB data per day, completing all the servers, no, it will take 1000 GB in your hard disk whenever it stores an indexer. But Splunk, right, the same 1000 GB will be transformed or compressed to 300 GB. That's why they will use Splunk. This is also one of the major reason, and it is having so many apps, no, the support it is having, no. And it supports routers and all those stuff. You can get the data from routers and all those. That's why they would use, even though it is very costly. For ELK, no, it is like $35 per something per GB or something. Okay, here rate it will be something like $2000 per GB per year, but they prefer Splunk. Did they answer your question?
Yes, sir. And how do we like monitor these performance metrics on Splunk?
Yeah, you can monitor. You can integrate with which tool you are thinking of
I'm
monitoring
not sure.
the. You
Yeah,
want
the
to
memory or whatever.
So if you want to directly monitor from core system, you can do. Means core Linux or operating system, there will be something like uh, we're having Splunk add-on for Linux and Unix and Linux. This is for pulling the information from the Unix. Windows also will have Microsoft add-on and apps for Splunk Windows. Okay, or JVM if you want to type the okay.
So I'm a Java developer, so whenever I develop something, I get mails from the performance team that there are some issue or something like that. So, like, is there any
APM
way
tools
to
you are
like?
telling, so
So
there are multiple tools, right? APM. So if you are already using an APM tool like New Relic or Dynatrace,
Dynatrace, yeah, Dynatrace. I heard them
so they
use this.
have some, yeah. So you can do the Dynatrace integration here
Okay.
in the or App
So
Dynamic.
is there any way like I can go and check beforehand before they check and send me a mail as soon as they develop? Is there any such way if I know the credentials?
Yeah, you can check. You have to integrate first. The Splunk should be in an organization, no? First, your
Yeah,
company has
Dynatrace is integrated. So
with
what can I
Splunk.
do?
Then
Yeah.
you can set, then you can see the metrics there. If you install this app rep, you will be getting that metrics and all those stuff, whatever you are seeing there.
So let's assume like there is a Splunk dashboard. Can we search from there?
Yes, you can search from there. So if you see right here, you will be having some metrics like this. If you install this app, right, you will be having like these metrics will come. Basically, if you install average response time, incoming traffic, outgoing traffic, errors per minute. So you will be having an option called as search. If you click on that, right, you can directly go to that particular log file which is contributing to this. Okay, this is the configuration, some configuration that needs to be done in order to install that app. Okay, this is the dashboard, Splunk dashboard. It will show like this is for the like app dynamic. Sorry, this is for the Dynatrace. Like that you will have. Got it?
Yeah, got it.
Actually, before like whenever they are running the test itself, right, you can directly see the logs. You can prepare the graphs like something like this. Okay. Here I don't have any response times now or average. You can write some like here, right? You can write some like Splunk queries. If you have some any field called as response time, right? You can check directly. You can prepare a dashboard with response time starts, like whatever the how many transactions are greater than 3 seconds, how many are less than 3 seconds, or if 100 milliseconds is your SLA, you can create a dashboard with how many transactions are exceeding like 100 milliseconds, how many are within, how many are less than 200 milliseconds, how many are more than 300. Like that you can create multiple graphs. Okay, in dashboards itself you can see you don't need to integrate also. Mostly the impact would be on the response time, right, for your APM. Whenever you are running the test, right, whatever the mails you are getting, right, they will be related to two. One is the response time, one is the error. Error you can see directly here. Correct? Huh? If it is not specific for your garbage collection, you can't see here, but other logs, if you like the JMX, that logs will be there, right? Your if you enable that uh, JMX logging, okay, you know that, right? Like you get XMX and all those, you can collect to one log, no? If you can
Yeah.
send those logs here, no, then you can directly visualize how much GC is happening, how much that whatever you are getting right there, that can be also visualized here. Any other questions? Else we'll wind up. So tomorrow, like the class will start at from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's a 1 month course. Any other questions?
I have one doubt. What is the difference like between the Splunk developer and the Splunk admin?
Developer means he will maintain this infrastructure. So he will be having like Splunk is not a standalone machine. Splunk is not a single instance. Likewise, your application servers and DB servers, and you will be having one solution. No, if you are developing, you are working on one project, means that is a solution. Correct? Huh? For that solutions, you will be having multiple components. Correct, right? You will be having multiple application servers, and you will be having multiple like DB servers. Okay. Here also Splunk infrastructure. If you want to develop, if you want to put in your company, right? Basically, you need You need a license server, you need an indexer, you need a like universal forwarder, you need a heavy forwarder, or you need a search head. Okay, and you need a deployment server. This infrastructure itself will have some 10 missions or 20 missions. It will vary. Some will
So
have
the,
indexers only 50 missions, 30 missions. Then you need one person to explicitly maintain this infrastructure, no Splunk. That's why they need a Splunk admin. Now you as a developer, now you will raise one request. Boss, I want to forward this logs to my Splunk server. Then you will do that configuration and they will go. Got it? You will say like, I have my logs in where log, or you will be telling him like, my application's logs are present in like something like /app logs a dot abc dot log def log dot something like that. You will say, then he will do that installations in your like core application, and he will ship the logs to the indexer. Got it? That is done by the Splunk developer. Sorry, Splunk admin. Splunk developer is someone, right? Now the data is being stored, and he will be able to search the data. Now he will play with the data. He will like based on the what to say, based on the requirement. So if they want something like, I want to know the how many errors are there in every 1 hour, I want a separate dashboard on hourly basis or monthly basis and yearly basis, or how many passed and failed transactions. Okay, on like hourly basis or 24-hour basis or weekly basis, right? They will be preparing the dashboards. They'll be having a lot many use cases also. Okay.
yeah, got it. So I have one more question.
Yeah,
So what
please.
are the prerequisites to learn Splunk?
No prerequisites. If you know Linux a bit, that should be fine. That too, like if you know how to edit a file, that is more than sufficient. You should know restarting and editing a file. Because like if you want to do the configuration, now you have to go open VI and you have to edit the file. If you know VI and how to stop and start the services, right? That should be fine. There is no prerequisites basically.